my name's Josh, and tonight we're just going to make a simple ribeye steak with a side of some kale. We're going to butter baste it. This specific steak I actually kind of koji fermented, so it's like the active ingredients in like soy sauce and just to kind of quickly dry age it, but that's not something you have to do. I was just curious. So what we've got going is we're going to heavily salt this, kind of draw out excess moisture. And then we've got a pan, hopefully pretty hot, because our initial goal is to get a good crust on this. So normally we would use a heavier bottom pot, or pan rather, but we don't have one. And in all honesty, most of this can be done in one pan for tonight. So we've got it smoking hot here. We're gonna add this steak right in. Make sure when you do it, you dry off that excess moisture. We're going for that nice crust sear on here, so you're listening for that sound. Cut it off a little hotter. So while we let that kind of sit there, get a nice crust on it, I actually have most of the other items prepped up, just to save time. But what we're gonna have is some kale with lemon that I rinsed and washed and dried. That'll have some garlic and shallots. And when we butter baste the steak, we'll also end up adding some more shallots, some garlic cloves, some rosemary, and some fresh thyme that I can cut from our little prepared butter, actually. So we don't need to move this much. We want to get a solid crust on it. We press it down lightweight in the pan. We're gonna go about a minute or two on either side, and then we'll get all these actual sides of it. We just want to get all that flavor, hopefully render out some of that fat, depending on how hot we can get this pan, and we'll go from there. At this point, we also have the oven preheating. We're going to about 425, and that way we can finish it in the oven, and I'll reserve this pan in order to get the kale going, which won't take too long. We're going to shoot for a medium rare, so on something that's about this size, 1.5 pounds, 1.5 inches thick, 135 is what we're going to shoot for. So part of that we can go by feel. Again, if you're cooking at home, which a lot of us have been during this quarantine, this pandemic, a lot of it's kind of feeling it out, experimentation, but simple, easy things are kind of the way to go, especially if you're learning. I'm going to flip this bad boy. I'm going to see how good the crust is. Again, making the surface of this meat dry is really helpful. So, yeah, that's what we're looking for. We want to press that down, make sure we're getting good, even coverage, good surface area on the base of that. So for our olive oil, we used actually sunflower oil just because it has a higher smoke point. That way we're not burning it, and olive oil, like extra virgin olive oil, has a lot more taste to it that we don't need. We really want to let the flavor of the steak shine through. Ribeye is one of my favorite cuts. It's super fatty, really good depth of flavor. So, alright, so now we can start getting these sides. So one of the things we want to note here is that hopefully you can render out some of this fat, but that sear is a lot of flavor. That caramelization, that browning, that's what we're looking for. So now, we're going to quickly butter baste this. And because I'm going to finish it in the oven, what we'll end up doing is, actually, we can turn the heat down, which I did. We're going to chop up some shallots. And I got some garlic here, some rosemary and thyme. We're gonna throw in some butter. Let that melt. And as soon as that does get going, we can throw in our aromatics. So at this point, we want to tilt the pan away from us. Get all this butter back here in the recesses of our steak. And that's going to help caramelize it even more, really get that crust of flavor to come in, but we're also imbuing this butter with a little extra flavor in here. We want to flip it one more time, get a little more on there, and do the same thing all over again. So tilt the pan towards you, get that butter all over it, and you can, well, you're not here, but you can smell it, and it should be smelling quite fragrant. I love that smell.
Whoo, smell that thyme.
Yeah, we've got rosemary, thyme, shallots, and garlic. So now, we can get this in the oven. Because the sooner we do, the sooner it finishes cooking, the sooner we can eat it. So you can just put it on a pan if that's what you have. I like to put it on a rack so he gets it, keeps it crispy underneath. I'm going to put the herbs and our aromatics right on top. I'm going to pour a little extra of the basting butter on top, and I'm going to reserve some for when we serve it. All right, now we can go with this directly in the oven. We're going to check on that. While that's in the oven, we have the time. We can start getting going on our kale. So this time we've got some extra virgin or olive oil. And once the pan gets a little hot, we're gonna add our onions and shallots. We can get a little hotter. All right, so we're gonna sweat these out just a minute so they get a little color, go a little more translucent. And we're gonna add some garlic. And a little salt and pepper, never hurt nobody. My kale was a little damp because I had to rinse it. It came from the farmer's market. So I had to soak it, but it should go. And what we're gonna do, a little more salt and pepper, a little more olive oil. We'll go from there. So we just kind of want to get this wilted Granted, it's been sitting in my fridge today, so it looks a little there, but a little color on it, a little crisp on some of it, but an even saute would be good. Put a little red pepper flakes in here. And again, we want to make sure there's enough oil and it's got a decent cheese to it. Make sure we're flipping from the bottom, getting even coverage on it. Again, it's all about that surface area, evenly applying heat. And what we can do to kind of get a little excess flavor here is we're gonna add some lemon juice. I used about half a lemon, but it's a flavor I really like. If you want to be extra fancy, you're always welcome to add a little zest. Wait till the end if you want to. I like it fairly wilted, so I'm pretty much done cooking. Remember, we just want the yellow, none of the white. We're good to go. We can cut the heat and let that sit. Alright, so we're gonna pull it out of the oven. Kind of went by feel. But again, if you're cooking at home, that's fine. We were looking for hopefully around a 135. We went a little over because one of my roommates doesn't like it as rare, and that's okay too. So, and all right, so right about there. And now we kind of let it rest for a few minutes. We don't want to chop right into it because a lot of the juices, they come out. The heat, letting that heat kind of redistribute throughout it, gives you less bleeding out. It's not actually blood, but it gives you less of that and more kind of even distribution of heat and those juices running back through it. So you don't end up with a soggy red mess on your plate. So we've let the steak rest a good 5 or 10 minutes, basically. But what we're gonna do is cut it open, see where we ended up. Nice. A little on the medium side, that's what we were kind of going for. And then we can plate this up. So, we want to cut against the grain, gives your mouth a better mouthfeel. Here's what we'll do. Now, some people are purists, don't like a lot of things on there, so we just add a little bit of flaky salt. And what we're gonna do is a little bit of our butter based on there. And then we'll add a little bit of our kale. You'll notice that I don't really eat carbs, so we just go hefty vegetable sides. However carnivorous we are. And go about it like that. So, if you wanted, any side that would go with this, anything else, potatoes, whatever, but we always feel like this is a pretty decent addition. We can also add, some people like cheese. We do have some boursin here. You can definitely just add a hunk of that. Some people like the creaminess to kind of complement what we're doing. But some people are purists and don't really like it, and that's fine too. but we hope you enjoy. You can garnish with a little bit of our shallots here as well. And there you are. Bon appetit.